The world of Lumia shined under 3 soft suns that rose slowly over the silver horizon. The air was calm, and the crystal forests glowed with gentle blue light. Every morning the towers of the capital city caught the sunlight and turned it into bright colors that danced across the sky. It was a peaceful world, known for its beauty and wisdom. Yet inside the royal palace, peace had been replaced by fear. King R'lyeh, ruler of Lumia for many years, sat alone in his private chamber while a heavy silence wrapped around him. He had always been a strong leader with a sharp mind and a steady voice. His people respected him for his fairness and his sense of duty, but for the last few months he had felt a strange weakness growing inside him. At first it was only tiredness that slowed his steps, then it became a constant pain in his chest, and finally a loss of energy so deep that even standing for long periods felt difficult. His strength faded little by little, and no remedy on Lumia could help him. Healers came from every corner of the kingdom. They brought herbs, crystal medicines, and soft glowing energies that were believed to restore balance to the body. Some told him to rest, some told him to drink special mixtures, some told him to meditate among the crystal trees. Nothing changed. The illness stayed mysterious and silent, like a shadow that refused to leave. The royal advisors gathered every day to discuss a solution. They whispered to each other and argued over possible cures. Some believed that the king needed new treatments. Others believed the illness was not natural, but not a single idea brought hope. After weeks of these discussions, the council finally told the king that they had run out of answers. This news filled his heart with a fear he had never felt before. One morning an unexpected message arrived from Earth. The humans sent a respectful request for communication. They explained that they wished for peaceful relations and offered to share knowledge between the 2 worlds. Their message was calm and polite. They claimed they had medical technology that might help the king. They also asked for something in return. They wanted a symbol of trust between their civilizations, something that would show Lumia truly desired cooperation. The message stirred the entire palace. Some were suspicious, some were hopeful. A few advisors believed the humans had come at the perfect time. Others believed it was dangerous to open the doors to an unfamiliar world. King R'lyeh listened to every opinion, but the decision was his alone. He lay awake many nights thinking about what to do. His illness grew worse, and he feared that if he waited too long, his world might soon be without a ruler. One evening he walked to the highest balcony of the palace and looked over the glowing city. He thought about his life, his people, and his family. His thoughts finally turned toward his daughter, Mira. She was gentle, quiet, and thoughtful. Unlike the other members of the royal family, she did not enjoy attention or grand gatherings. Mira preferred small rooms, quiet gardens, and the comfort of study halls. Many in the court overlooked her because she did not seek power or praise. But the king knew she was intelligent and observant. She understood people in a way others did not. Mira had never been sent on any important mission. Some thought she was too calm to handle the pressure of politics. Some believed she was not suited for royal duties. But the king remembered all the time she had solved small problems in the palace with simple wisdom. He remembered how she cared for the crystal gardens and helped the young scholars with their learning. In his heart he knew she had potential that no one else saw. As he stood on the balcony, he realized that sending Mira to Earth might create the bridge of trust both worlds needed. It would show that Lumia had faith in the humans. It would also give Mira a chance to grow, to explore something beyond the palace walls. He hoped the humans would welcome her with respect, and that she could help strengthen the connection between their worlds. The next morning he called Mira to his chamber. She walked in quietly, her long silver cloak moving softly behind her. Her eyes were calm, as always. When she saw her father sitting with a tired expression, she felt a small worry rise inside her. She asked if he was all right. The king smiled gently and told her he wanted to speak with her about something important. He explained the illness that had been weakening him. Mira listened with deep concern. She had noticed his tired steps and the soft tremble in his hands, but she did not know it had become so serious. She stood beside him and placed her hand on his arm. The king continued, telling her about the message from Earth. He explained how the humans offered help and how they asked for a symbol of trust in return. Mira remained silent but attentive. Finally he told her his decision. He asked her to travel to Earth as an honored guest, to represent Lumia in a peaceful mission. He said her presence would show trust, and her calm nature would help both sides understand each other. Mira felt a deep pause in her heart. She had never left Lumia, never traveled beyond the safety of the palace. The idea of going to another world was overwhelming, yet she did not show fear. Instead, she asked her father why he chose her. The king answered with honesty. He told her she had a quiet strength that others overlooked, and that her presence could bring harmony to unfamiliar places. Mira lowered her eyes and thought deeply. She knew her father needed help. She knew her world needed hope, and she knew that if she refused, the king might grow weaker without ever finding a cure. After a long moment, she looked up and agreed. She said she would go. The king felt relief and gratitude. He thanked her with warmth he had not shown in many years. The palace prepared for her departure at once. The humans sent a silver ship, smooth and bright like a blade of light. It landed softly in the courtyard, surrounded by guards and advisors, who watched with mixed feelings of hope and worry. Myra walked down the long stone path toward the ship. Her steps were steady, though her heart beat with uncertainty. Aaron, the human envoy, stepped out of the ship and bowed respectfully. He welcomed Myra with gentle words and assured her she would be treated with honor. She nodded politely and stepped inside the craft. As the ship rose into the sky, Myra looked out of the transparent window. She saw the crystal towers, the glowing forests, and the peaceful world she had always known. She wondered what awaited her on Earth and what path her life would now take. She hoped her journey would bring healing, not only to her father, but to both worlds. And with that quiet hope, the ship carried her away from Lumia and toward a future she had never imagined. When the silver human ship moved through space, Myra sat near a clear window, watching the stars drift past like small lights floating in an endless sea. The inside of the ship was quiet and clean. Soft blue panels glowed along the walls, and the air smelled faintly of metal and something unfamiliar. Myra kept her hands folded in her lap. Her mind was calm on the surface, yet full of thoughts beneath. She wondered how Earth would look, how its people lived, and what kind of place she would soon call home. Aaron, the human envoy assigned to guide her, sat on the opposite side of the cabin. He respected her silence and did not try to force a conversation. He watched her with gentle curiosity. He noticed how her eyes moved slowly from one detail to another, as if she wished to understand the ship completely. He realized she was not nervous, only deep in thought. He admired her quiet strength. After many hours, the ship approached Earth. A bright sphere appeared in the distance and grew larger until its oceans and continents became clear. Clouds wrapped around the planet like soft white cloth. Myra leaned slightly closer to the window. She had seen pictures of Earth before, but seeing it with her own eyes felt different. It felt alive. Aaron spoke with a calm voice. He told her that they would land in the Central Alliance base, a place where leaders from different countries met and worked together. He told her that the council members awaited her arrival with respect and interest. Myra nodded silently. As the ship entered the atmosphere, the view outside changed rapidly. Blue oceans shimmered under sunlight, forests stretched like dark green blankets, and cities appeared with clusters of tall buildings. Myra had never seen anything like it. Lumia had its own beauty, but Earth felt vast and full of motion. Roads curved through the land like long ribbons, and tiny flying vehicles moved between glass towers. The ship landed on a large circular platform made of smooth white stone. People in simple uniforms stood in neat lines, waiting. When the doors opened, a soft breeze carried fresh air into the cabin. Myra stood and walked to the exit, her silver cloak trailing behind her. Aaron walked beside her with a steady step. The moment Myra stepped out, every person on the platform bowed politely. The gesture surprised her. She had expected curiosity, maybe confusion, but she had not expected such respectful calm. A tall woman with short black hair stepped forward. She introduced herself as Leora, one of the leaders of the Earth Council. Her voice was steady and warm. She welcomed Myra to Earth and thanked her for coming despite the long journey. Myra bowed slightly in return. Her movements were graceful and quiet. She spoke softly, saying she was honored to be present on behalf of Lumia. Her voice carried an unusual peaceful tone, and many people around her exchanged curious glances. They had never met anyone like her. Liora guided Myra through the main entrance of the base. The hall was wide and bright, with a ceiling made of transparent panels that allowed sunlight to pour inside. Smooth stone floors reflected warm colors, and gentle music played from unseen speakers. Myra observed every detail. Her steps were steady and silent, and her eyes moved with calm intelligence. Aaron walked a few steps behind, watching how others reacted to her. Many stared with quiet wonder, not because she was strange, but because her presence felt unexpectedly soothing. They entered a large chamber where the Earth Council met. The chamber was shaped like a circle with chairs arranged around a central table. Screens on the walls displayed maps, star charts, and symbols of different nations. Council members from various regions stood as Myra entered. They greeted her with polite smiles. Some of them had studied Lumia for years but had never met a Lumia in person. Leora invited Myra to sit at the central table. Myra settled into the chair with gentle posture. She kept her hands folded as she listened to each council member speak. They asked about her journey, her world, and the hopes of the Lumian kingdom. Myra responded with calm honesty. She explained her father's wish for peace and cooperation. She described the beauty of Lumia, its crystal forests, and its bright towers. She shared her people's desire to learn and grow beside Earth rather than remain strangers. The council was impressed. Myra spoke in simple words yet carried a deep sincerity that softened even the most cautious members. Her style was different from Earth diplomats. She did not try to persuade. She did not exaggerate. She only spoke the truth as she saw it, and that truth was gentle and clear. After the meeting, Aaron led her to her living quarters inside the base. Her room was spacious, with a large window overlooking the city. There were soft lights, quiet colors, and a small table with a plant placed at its center. Aaron told her that everything was arranged according to comfort and preference. Myra thanked him politely. Aaron smiled and said she deserved a peaceful place after such a long trip. Myra walked to the window. The city stretched far into the distance. Lights blinked across tall towers, and flying vehicles moved like birds across the sky. People walked along bridges and streets below. Earth felt busy and full of life. She placed her hand on the glass and watched the movement with fascination. She wondered how many stories were unfolding below her. She wondered if she would soon become part of this world. Later that evening, Leora returned to check on her. She asked if Myra needed anything. Myra shook her head gently. She said the room was comfortable and the view was calming. Leora smiled and told her that the council was already impressed by her presence. She said that many believed the alliance between Earth and Lumia would grow stronger because of Myra's peaceful nature. When Leora left, Myra sat on the edge of her bed. She allowed herself a moment to breathe deeply. She felt a mixture of relief and responsibility. She knew her father counted on her. She knew Lumia's future depended on her success. She also sensed that Earth held new possibilities she had never imagined. As night settled over the city, Myra lay down and closed her eyes. Memories of Lumia drifted through her mind, mixed with images of her new surroundings. She wondered what challenges she would face in the coming days, what friendships she might form, and what discoveries awaited her in this new world. She did not fear the future. She only hoped she would find the strength to meet it with the same calm spirit she had carried all her life. Myra woke early the next morning. Soft sunlight spilled through the wide window, painting the room in pale gold. For a moment she simply sat up and looked outside. The human city was already alive. Vehicles moved like small insects on air paths. Lights blinked from distant towers, and crowds flowed through the streets in steady waves. The world felt full of motion, far different from the quiet pace of Lumea. She rose from the bed and touched her silver cloak gently. It reminded her of home, the crystal gardens, and the soft voices of the scholars she once helped. She wondered if she would ever return to those peaceful halls. Yet she also felt a growing sense of purpose here on Earth, a weight she had accepted willingly when she agreed to leave her father. A gentle knock sounded at her door. Aaron entered with a calm smile. He carried a small device in his hand. He explained that the device would help her communicate easily across Earth systems. Myra accepted it and thanked him. Aaron noticed how her movements were always slow and graceful, as if her thoughts guided each step. He told her that the council wanted to show her more of Earth, not only the base. They believed she should see the world she hoped to build a bridge with. Myra agreed without hesitation. She wished to understand the humans, their habits, their hopes, and their concerns. She wanted to know what kind of future could be built between their civilizations. Aaron led her through long hallways filled with screens, maps, and people wearing quiet expressions of focus. Many stopped for a moment when Myra passed. Her presence felt unusual, not because of her appearance but because of the calm she carried with her. Even the busiest workers slowed down slightly as she walked near them. When they stepped outside, a sleek air vehicle waited. Its doors opened with a soft sound. Aaron guided Myra inside, then joined her. The vehicle rose smoothly and moved across the city. From above, the city looked like a living maze of towers, green parks, blue rivers, and glowing bridges. Myra leaned toward the window, studying everything with patient curiosity. Aaron pointed out the main features. He showed her the education districts, the research centers, and the council fields where people gathered for open discussions. He explained that Earth was not perfect, yet its people tried each day to improve it. Myra listened without judgment. She understood that growth came from effort, not perfection. This was something she had always believed. Their first destination was a research facility near a large lake. The building had wide glass walls and gardens on every level. As Myra stepped out of the vehicle, she felt a cool breeze around her. Water shimmered in the distance, and sunlight reflected off its surface like scattered silver. Human researchers stood near the entrance waiting to meet her. Inside the facility, scientists showed her their medical technology. They explained how they studied illnesses, how they created treatments, and how they solved problems using observation and teamwork. Myra asked simple yet thoughtful questions. Her voice was gentle, but each question revealed a deep understanding of how living systems worked. One researcher, a cheerful man named Rian, demonstrated a device that scanned the body for harmful patterns. Myra watched closely and noticed something familiar. She spotted a pattern similar to the signs of her father's illness. A small spark of hope lit in her heart. She asked Rian if she could study the pattern more closely. Rian agreed immediately, impressed by her interest. They placed the pattern on a large display table. Myra leaned forward, her eyes focused. She traced the shapes with her finger in the air, comparing them to her memories of Lumian medical symbols. She realized that the illness on Lumia might not be unique. It might exist in different forms across many worlds. She felt both excitement and responsibility rising within her. Aaron watched her carefully. He saw her calm face, yet he sensed she had discovered something important. When he asked if she wanted assistance, she shook her head gently. She preferred to think in silence. After some time, she turned to Rian and asked if she could access more medical data. Rian agreed and guided her to a quiet chamber filled with screens and tables. Myra spent hours studying patterns, comparing them, and connecting them with her knowledge of Lumia. Her hands moved with calm precision. Her mind worked quickly, yet her expression remained serene. By afternoon, she had already identified several clues. She believed she was close to understanding the cause of her father's illness. She felt a soft warmth in her chest at the thought of helping him. She had left him behind, but she still carried his hope with her when she finally stepped out of the chamber. Aaron noticed the slight glow in her eyes. He asked if she had found something useful. Myra nodded with quiet certainty. She told him she had discovered a link between the illness and a rare energy imbalance that might be treatable. Aaron smiled with relief. He asked if she wanted to rest, but Myra said she wished to continue learning about Earth first. Aaron guided her to the outside garden of the facility. Tall trees from Earth mixed with plants brought from other allied worlds. Myra walked slowly along the path, feeling the energy of each plant as she passed. She sensed harmony in this place. She understood that Earth was working hard to unite different cultures, something she respected deeply. A group of children from a nearby learning center entered the garden. They saw Myra and approached her with open curiosity. Myra knelt down slightly so she could meet their eyes. The children asked her simple questions. They wanted to know what Lumia looked like. They wanted to know if the stars felt different there. Myra answered each question with patience and kindness. She described the crystal trees, the glowing lakes, and the quiet halls of tradition. The children listened with wonder. One small boy handed her a drawing he had made. It showed Earth and Lumia connected by a bright path. Myra accepted the drawing and held it carefully. She thanked the boy with a soft smile. Aaron watched the scene with a warm feeling in his chest. He saw how easily Myra brought peace to those around her. Later that evening, as the sun lowered over the lake, Myra and Aaron returned to the base. The sky turned shades of orange and gold. Myra looked out the window as the vehicle moved through the air. She felt tired but satisfied. Every moment on Earth revealed something new. Every conversation taught her something important. When they reached her room, she placed the drawing from the child on her table. She sat on her bed and reflected on the day. She felt closer to understanding Earth and closer to finding a cure for her father. She also felt a quiet connection forming with Aaron. He treated her with respect, not because of her title, but because he saw her true nature. As night settled over the base, Myra closed her eyes. She felt hope growing inside her. She sensed that her journey on Earth was only beginning and that her role in uniting both worlds would become greater than she ever imagined. The next morning arrived with a soft glow across the sky. Myra woke early again, but this time her heart felt different. A quiet determination flowed through her. She had spent the previous day studying patterns from Earth's medical systems, and the knowledge she gained stayed awake in her thoughts throughout the night. She sensed she was close to a discovery that could help her father and perhaps heal many others across worlds. She dressed slowly, smoothing her cloak with careful hands. When she stood before the window, she watched the human city come alive. Sunrise spread past the towers and along the bridges. Vehicles floated through the sky with gentle hums. The world felt full of purpose, and for the first time since leaving Lumia, Myra felt she was truly part of something larger than herself. A chime sounded at her door. Aaron entered with his usual calm smile. He asked if she was ready for another full day. Myra nodded. She told him she wished to return to the research center near the lake. Aaron noticed the firmness in her voice. He understood that she had found something important and wanted to continue her work without delay. They walked through the base halls while people rushed to their tasks. Many greeted Myra politely, and she returned each greeting with gentle nods. Her presence had become familiar to them, yet the respect she received never faded. When the air vehicle carried them across the city once more, Myra kept her eyes on the horizon. She replayed the medical patterns in her mind. She searched for connections, shapes, and signals that matched what she had seen on Lumia. Aaron watched her quietly. He wanted to ask more questions about her discovery, but he sensed she needed silence to organize her thoughts. The research center was busier than the day before. Screens displayed lines of data. Scientists moved quickly between tables. The moment Rian saw Myra walk in, he hurried toward her with enthusiasm. He told her he had prepared more samples and additional patterns for study. Myra thanked him with calm gratitude. Rian led her to a private laboratory, where the lights were soft and the screens awaited input. Myra stood before the largest display and placed her hand on a sensor. The system recognized her immediately. Patterns from the previous day appeared as glowing lines and shapes. Myra studied them with unwavering focus. She compared the patterns from Earth illnesses with the ones she remembered from her father's condition. She saw similarities in the energy flow. She saw the same unstable pulse that weakened vital systems. The illness on Lumia was not identical, but it shared a core imbalance. This gave her hope. It meant there was a chance for a cure. She asked Rian to bring her a full list of similar illnesses recorded on Earth. Rian did so with excitement. He respected Myra's intelligence. He saw how quickly she understood complex information. When she worked, her calm expression never changed, yet her eyes carried a deep light. Aaron remained near the wall, watching quietly. He admired the way Myra stood in front of the glowing display. Her silver cloak shimmered under the lab lights. She moved with grace as she adjusted controls, traced patterns, and rechecked data. Erin had seen many brilliant scientists, but none with her unique blend of calm and wisdom. After several hours, Mira stepped back from the display. She had finally seen the full truth hidden in the patterns. Something clicked in her mind, a gentle but powerful realization. She turned toward Rion and Aaron with quiet certainty. She explained that the illness on Lumia was caused by a slow disruption in the body's natural energy alignment. She believed the same imbalance appeared in rare human cases. The illness grew slowly, almost unnoticed, until the body weakened. If she could find a way to stabilize the energy patterns before they collapsed, she could create a cure. Rion stared at her with amazement. He told her no one had ever studied the illness from that angle. Myra did not boast. She simply said that Lumian healers worked with energy in a unique way. Combining human science and Lumian energy knowledge might create something new and effective. Erin asked what she needed to continue. Myra said she needed a quiet room, more data samples, and permission to access the energy fields of the facility. Erin promised he would arrange everything. He knew this discovery meant more than a simple medical success. It could unite Earth and Lumia in a way no treaty could. A few hours later, Mira was guided to a small meditation chamber within the research center. The room had soft floors, dim lights, and a pool of water at its center. It was designed to help researchers relax during long work hours. Myra used it differently. She sat cross-legged near the pool and closed her eyes. She reached inward, calling upon the peaceful knowledge she had learned from Lumian healers. She visualized the energy patterns she had seen on the screens. She imagined their shapes, movements, and weaknesses. She searched for a stable form, something that could hold the pattern together. Her breathing slowed. Her eyes opened with new clarity. She returned to the laboratory with steady steps. Rion loaded the data she requested. Myra watched the screens and began to reshape the energy lines using both human tools and Lumian concepts. With each adjustment, the pattern grew stronger and more stable. At last, she created a complete model. It showed how the unstable energy could be corrected. It also showed how a simple treatment, built with both scientific materials and gentle energy balancing, could heal the illness. Rian sat down with disbelief. He said this model could save thousands of lives on Earth and Lumia. Aaron felt a wave of relief and pride. Mira stood quietly, watching the glowing model with calm satisfaction. She said this was only the beginning. She needed to test the method. She needed to confirm that the cure was safe. The news reached the Earth Council. Leora arrived at the research center that same afternoon. She walked into the laboratory and saw Mira standing before the model. Leora approached her with genuine admiration. She thanked Mira for her dedication and told her that Earth would fully support the testing process. Mira bowed her head politely. She said she wished to send the information to Lumia as soon as possible. Her father needed the cure more than anyone. Leora agreed and took immediate steps to ensure the data could travel safely across space. Before leaving, Leora placed a gentle hand on Mira's shoulder. She told her that her work had already made a powerful impact. She said people on Earth were speaking about her kindness and wisdom. Myra thanked her quietly, though she did not seek praise. Her only hope was to help her father and strengthen the bond between their worlds. As evening fell, Myra and Aaron stood near the wide laboratory window. The lake glowed with the colors of sunset. Mira watched the water ripple softly. Aaron turned to her and said he believed she had changed the future of both worlds. Mira did not look away from the lake. She said she only followed the path she believed was right. Night settled gently over the research center. The scientists continued working with renewed energy. Myra walked slowly back to her room at the base. She felt tired but fulfilled. She knew the road ahead would be challenging. Yet she also sensed a stronger purpose guiding her. She hoped her father would soon be healed. She hoped Earth and Lumia would stand together as friends. And she hoped the discovery she made today would become a light for both civilizations. The days after the Council Treaty felt different for Myra and Rion. The tension that had once floated in the air, like a heavy cloud, was now gone. In its place grew a warm sense of peace that slowly touched every corner of both worlds. Every voice that had once whispered fear now carried hope instead. Mira noticed this change each morning as she moved through the human base. People who once watched her with concern now greeted her with calm respect. Some even smiled at her. And for someone who once felt unwanted in her own home, this new kindness felt like sunlight. Rian stayed close during these days. He kept her updated on every message between the humans and the zone. He explained each detail at a steady pace, making sure she understood everything. Mira appreciated this more than she said. For so long she had been treated like a burden or a tool, but Rian treated her like someone who mattered. Her days no longer felt empty. One morning she stood on a balcony outside the base hall. The sky was calm and wide. A cold wind brushed her face as she looked at the tall forests stretching far beyond the walls. She felt Rion step beside her. His quiet presence always came before his voice. "You were awake early," he said. Mira smiled a little. "I wanted to see the sunrise." Rion nodded. "I used to come here when I needed to think. This place helps clear the mind." Together they looked at the sky as it slowly brightened. A warm glow spread across the horizon. Myra felt calm even though she knew a great decision now waited for her. She had heard the message delivered from her father 2 days earlier. It was full of grand words, but Myra had understood the true meaning behind them. The king wanted her to return home and stand at his side so he could show the world that he had supported the peace from the beginning. He wanted to use her presence as a symbol that he had never been wrong. She had expected this. The king did not change easily, but now she had a choice. For the first time in her life, she could choose her own path, and she did not want to return to the shadows she had lived in. Rian glanced at her. "You are thinking about the messages," she answered quietly. He did not pressure her with questions. He simply stood close, giving her space and comfort. She finally turned toward him. "If I go back, he will use me again," Myra said. "He will not hurt me, but he will silence me. He will send me where no one can hear me speak. I do not want to be silent anymore." Rian listened carefully. "You do not have to return if you do not want to. The council will agree to protect you. Your father signed away the right to command you when he offered you to us." The words were not said with pride or power. They were said with honest certainty. Myra felt her heart steady. "I want to stay," she said. Rian smiled gently. Then stay. Those two simple words shaped her future. Later that day, the council gathered for a public announcement. Humans and Zorons both filled the hall. The energy in the room felt alive and bright. For the first time, Zoran guards stood side by side with human peace officers. Every person there knew that something historic was taking place. Myra walked into the hall with steady steps. Her posture was calm. Her eyes were clear. She stood before both worlds not as a gift but as someone who chose to remain. Rian stepped beside her, not as her owner or commander, but as her ally. Council Chair Lena raised her voice. "Today we confirm the treaty between humans and Zoran. A path of peace begins from this moment. And today we also confirm that Myra is free to choose her own future." There was no loud cheering. Instead, the hall fell into a respectful hush, a quiet moment that held more meaning than noise ever could. Myra breathed deeply and then spoke in a single clear voice. "I choose to stay on this world, not as a symbol and not as a gift. I choose to stay because I want to build a future that is peaceful for both our people. I cannot change the past, but I can help shape tomorrow." Her words spread through the hall like a wave. She saw the eyes of humans soften and the faces of Zorans relax. Even the message board that streamed the event to distant viewers lit with supportive notes. Rian felt quiet pride rise in him. This was the girl the king had called unwanted. This was the girl he had tried to hide. Yet now she stood in front of two worlds with a strength that came not from power but from courage. After the gathering, Rian walked her to a quiet garden behind the hall. The wind moved through the tall grass with a peaceful rhythm. Sunlight warmed the ground. Myra sat on a stone bench and looked at the sky with a soft smile. "I never thought my life would change like this," she said. "Life changes in strange ways," Rian replied. "Sometimes the hardest path leads to a better place." She looked at him with warm understanding. "You helped me find that path. You showed me I could be more than what others decided for me." "You did that yourself," he answered kindly. "I only stood beside you." Their conversation was gentle and unhurried. Nothing forced, nothing heavy. Myra felt a steady comfort she had never known before. The weight that once pressed on her heart was now gone. As days turned to weeks, Myra became an important part of the base council. She helped translate Zoran customs and explained human values to her people. She spoke softly but with clarity, and both sides listened. Rian worked with her daily and respected every choice she made. Together they formed a team that helped strengthen the fragile bond between worlds. One evening they stood on the hill behind the base. The sky was orange and gold. Myra watched the horizon with calm eyes. "Rian," she said, "I am grateful for everything you gave me, a place where I could grow." "You gave yourself that place," he replied. She smiled. "Maybe we both did." A peaceful silence settled between them, a silence filled with trust and understanding. They stood there as the sun slowly set, marking the end of a long journey and the beginning of a new one. Myra was no longer an unwanted daughter. She was no longer a gift. She was a voice that carried hope. And in the days that followed, her presence became a bridge between two worlds, a bridge built not on fear but on respect, a bridge that would guide the future toward a brighter dawn.